Is this how you get your sick kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary crabby. Oh my goodness!
Man, Magic is such a good game. I don't have an overall topic for this video. I just wanted to spread a little bit of positivity with this. Now, as you saw in the beginning of the video, I have not made a Magic video in a very, very long time. Simply because I haven't played Magic in a very long time. I'm a businessman doing business and jerking off to Elden Ring for a little too long. It's a really good game. You guys should play it. But my love for this game just got reignited. Last night, I played my first game of Magic in almost over 2 months. It's been a fat minute, and holy moly, it was so much fun. Not only was it good to hang with the squad again, but the games themselves were just a ton of fun. I enjoyed my time so much, I wanted to make this video saying how much I love this game. I'm gonna be suckling on the toes of this game for a little bit. I'm gonna be giving you a play-by-play of some of the highlights from last night, and why I freaking love this game so much. So let me set the stage for you. We're in a 4-player pod. 2 of them are already dead because I've already flipped my Atali Primal Conqueror over to its Blightsteel mode.
Scream. Make sure everyone can hear you.
And smoked both of them. Probably by like turn 6 or 7. I don't know, I've slept since then. My board is looking freshly stacked with a dummy thick Apex Devastator, a Blightsteel Colossus Atali, and enough schmeat on my board to slap my opponent around multiple times over. But unfortunately, I had spent my turn killing another player, so it was me and the last opponent. My opponent starts his turn off by playing Arcane Proxy, the prototype version, meaning it hits the field as a 2-1 as opposed to a 4-3, meaning he only has to pay 3 mana instead of the 7 mana originally. When this hits the field, it has an ETB trigger. It says, if you cast it, exile target instant or sorcery card with mana value less than or equal to Arcane Proxy's power from your graveyard. Copy that card, you can cast it without paying its mana cost. And take a wild guess as to what he decided to target with this Arcane Proxy. This dude decided to target Last Chance, which was in his graveyard already. And if you don't know what Last Chance is, it says take an extra turn, and at the beginning of that turn's end step, you lose the game. With that, the 12 Doctor triggers, which says the first spell you cast from anywhere other than your hand has Demonstrate. And Demonstrate says when you cast that spell, you may copy it. If you do, choose an opponent to also copy it. And guess who's the only other opponent across the table from him? Me. So now I have an extra turn, but if I don't win on that turn, I just lose. And even though this happened last night, my memory of it is still a little hazy, so I'm probably gonna get the stacking and the rules wrong on it, but just know the end outcome was followed by the rules. I may just not explain it correctly. So my opponent skips to his next turn, and obviously if he doesn't win on this turn, then he just loses due to Last Chance. The way he combats this is by skipping to his end step, and with the Last Chance trigger on the stack, he casts Discontinuity, ending his turn and getting rid of the you lose clause within Last Chance. And with this, he graciously passes to my next extra turn, to which he so graciously bestowed upon me. Now at this point, he knows he's probably gonna win. He's got plenty of chump blockers, and he knows I'm probably not gonna be able to get him through combat damage, which means if I can't kill him on this turn, I lose, and obviously he wins, which I will say is probably one of the coolest synergy slash combos, whatever this is, that I have ever seen anyone use. At this point, the writing's on my balls. I know I'm pretty much dead. So what do I do with my imminent death hanging over my head and a fat board that's pretty much useless? I've accepted my fate now. I know I'm probably just gonna lose. With that in mind, I draw my first card and ooh, baby! I am freaking saved. Guess what I freaking drew from that stupid pile of cards? I drew Manifold Key. Now, if you don't know why that's important, I've got essentially a Blightsteel Colossus, which, if you don't know what that is also a one-shot due to Infect. And Manifold Key has 2 key texts on it. Pay 1 mana, tap it to untap target artifact, or you can pay 3 mana, tap Manifold Key, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Guess who now has a one-way ticket to Clapping Cheeks? Bam! Easiest dub of my entire freaking life. Not really. Because without me pulling that exact card, I would have actually just been screwed. But thus, the game was won. Now, I probably had a good time during that game because I'm the one that won. I may be a little biased, but this next game, I certainly did not win, but it was insane. So, let me set the stage one more time. We've got 4 people playing. One person playing a Maze's End Prismatic Bridge meme deck. I'm playing my Endoraptor the Perfect Hybrid deck. My other opponent is playing a Dahada Bender of Wills Legendary deck. My last opponent was playing a 5-color meme deck using Joda the Archmage Eternal. So there's a good amount of board setup that needs explaining from each player's perspective, because there's a lot happening. Player 1 has 7 gates out. He needs both Maze's End and 2 more gates before he can win the game, which he doesn't have a way to get either. And his board state isn't great. He's got a couple of chump blockers, but nothing more than that. Player 2, on the other hand, has a single Primeval Spawn. It's a 10/10 with Vigilance, Trample, and Lifelink, and when Primeval Spawn leaves the battlefield, exile the top 10 cards of your library. You may cast any number of those spells with total mana value 10 or less from among them without paying their mana cost. And when I tell you player 2 is itching to get this off, he is itching. To be fair, we all wanted to see it go off. This was a pretty casual game, and we all wanted to see what he could pull off with that, especially in a 5-color deck. And player 3 has his commander, Dahada, out, as well as a Drana, Liberator of Malakir, who is extra thick. This Drana had about 3 or 4 equipments attached to her, to the point where she was a 1920 and probably bigger. I'm not going to go into what it had equipped to it, but it was huge and it was only going to get bigger. And not only was it going to get bigger, it was also directly pointed at me. Everyone else was essentially at full health. Player 3 had 50 something life and I had 11 health because all of the Drana swings had been pointed directly at me. Now, did I deserve all these swings? Absolutely. If I was in his position, I would have slapped me with all these attacks as well. Oh, wow! And we were all friends there, so I was definitely antagonizing him a little bit. But what made player 3 far scarier than anyone else was not only did he have the biggest creature on the board and the most amount of life, he also had... Oh, no. No! Now, you've never had the privilege of these cards laid before you. Let me explain why this is, how do you say it? Ungodly. First off, turn grid says, whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. And Cataclysm has the ungodly text of each player chooses from among the permanents he or she controls an artifact, creature, enchantment, and land, then sacrifices the rest. Now, okay, I can smell what you're saying. Maybe just read even a little bit of interaction and then you wouldn't have this problem, hello? Well, first off, brush your teeth with a cheese grater. Second off, before this game had even started, we had all announced to the table that none of our decks had a lot of interaction, so yeah, we kind of boned ourselves with this one. And as funny as it would have been to see one person get everyone else's board, yeah, no, we were going to do everything in our power to stop that. And our one option was player removal, the best kind. With this threat dangling over our balls, player 3 decides to pass the turn to me. Now, I had been flooded with mana harder than your average city after a hurricane. But my key pieces were still intact. That being, a Vorinclex Monstrous Raider was on the board, my Rhythm of the Wild was on the board, and I had a Chandra's Ignition in hand. I then did what any real Jund player would do. I casted Chandra's Ignition, targeting the Vorinclex, dealing 6 damage to each opponent, in total being 18 damage. I then cast my commander, Indomitable Raptor. If you don't know what that does, Endoraptor has a mechanic known as Bloodthirst, and this one specifically has Bloodthirst X. And this says, this creature enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters, where X is the amount of damage dealt to your opponents this turn. It also has Menace, which will come in play later. With a total of 18 damage in total dealt to my opponents, I then cast my Indoraptor, which gave him 18 +1/+1 counters, making him a 21/20. But wait, there's more, because Vorinclex was on the field. These counters get doubled. Holy moly, this dude's extra thick! I cannot tell you how happy I was that this played out the way it did. Not only did I plan for this entire thing, the whole reason I wanted to keep Vorinclex alive and have the Rhythm of the Wild out was so he could get as big as possible. And when I played him, I was so happy that he just got the 18 counters, I completely forgot that Vorinclex was sitting right there being like, hey you idiot, here's an extra 18 counters. So in total, my perfect hybrid became a 39-37. Now yes, I know some of you goobers and goblins are like, ooh, that's not that big. Shut up. This is the biggest I've ever got this deck before, and I was so happy that it happened. Not only does he now have haste due to the Rhythm of the Wild, he also has menace and an enrage trigger. Because he has haste, I was going for player removal. I look to my opponent, say, sorry bucko, I'm sending him right to you. Not really, there's actually a lot of discussion as to where this should go. But in the end, he ended up swinging at opponent 3. And while during combat, I'm pretty sure we made a few mistakes, opponent 3 should have gained some more life. But in the end, it doesn't really matter, you'll see why soon. So, opponent 3 has 2 creatures. One of them is indestructible from Dahada's +1, the other one is just kind of a chump blocker. They both block, one survives, the other one gone. More importantly, the enrage gets triggered twice. And the enrage trigger on Endoraptor says, whenever what's-his-face is dealt damage, choose an opponent at random. Endoraptor deals damage equal to its power to that player unless they sack a non-token creature. Why is this important? Well, in theory, opponent 3 is arch nemesis for us right now. But because this says choose an opponent at random, that means I cannot choose where this damage goes. And because there's 2 enrage triggers, there's going to be a total of 78 damage.
That's a lot of damage!
And if that hits anyone twice, they're just dead, unless they sack something. So, we roll the dice, opponent 1 being 1-2, opponent 2 being 3-4, and opponent 3 being 5-6. And if it landed on any one of those, that's where this damage was going. We were going to do that 2 times. So, to start it off, we roll it once. Holy crap, it's opponent 3. Alrighty, so because opponent 3 doesn't want to take 39 damage to the face, he ends up sacking his biggest creature. So he takes no damage. Now it's time to roll it again. So we roll the dice again. Holy crap, it's opponent 3 again! What in the world are the chances of that? So this poor man's sacked his biggest creature and took 39 damage. He was at 50 something, so it wasn't lethal for him, but we were all getting super hyped about it. And with that, I passed it to opponent 1's turn. Starting off opponent 1's turn, this was hilarious. He goes, great. I'm at 7 gates. I can pretty much do nothing because I have no way to get Maze's End and I don't have a way to get other gates. And then he draws his card and goes, ooh! And guess what this dude draws? Nylea's freaking intervention. And an intervention it was. Because if you don't know what this does, you pay 2 green and X, and it says choose one. Search your library for up to X land cards. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. And then the second option is Nylea. Nylea's intervention deals twice X damage to each creature with flying. And obviously he chose that option. So he goes and finds his Maze's End and 2 more gates. Slaps them all onto the field and says Maze's End enters tapped. Now what? Because all he has to do is then pay 3 mana and tap it and he just wins. And guess what happens to be in his graveyard? A silly goofy little Fate Stitcher. And guess what Fate Stitcher just happens to have? Unearth for 1 mana, which gives it haste. So yeah, he won with that. And that was the stupid game. All of this setup, so many threats, all just to get clapped by Baldur's Gate. Just the fact that all of this is even possible in a single card game is absolutely insane. 3 people in this game had really solid ways of winning and looked like they were going to if the gate player hadn't won. And I've just been thinking about it. Like, there's a lot of negativity in the Magic community. It's really easy to hate on Wizards. Trust me, I know. I do it a lot. But like, at the end of the day, even if Wizards were to just shut down, no more Magic cards are being printed, this game that we have right now is still the best card game I have ever played. And probably ever will play. If you would have told me 3 or 4 years ago that I was going to be more invested in a silly little card game than I was pretty much any other aspect in my entire life, that I was going to make a YouTube channel over this, I would have said, sir, this is a McDonald's, you're holding up the line, please leave. And like spit in your drink or something, I don't know. But no, here I am talking to a computer screen, knowing that there is a community full of probably millions of other people. I don't actually have a number, but probably millions of other people who feel the exact same way about this game. And no matter what Wizards does, this game, at least for me, will always be the best game and holds a extremely high place in my heart. So yeah, that's all I had for today. I didn't really have any script or thoughts for this, so actually I want to hear you guys' favorite interactions down in the comments. Let me know why you guys love this game so much. But yeah, that's all I got. I'm gonna go make some pancakes now. Bye.